Check 1, 2. Okay. Yeah. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm Flotsa, and this is Mirror's Edge. Right away, the hardest skip in the game, training skip. Really simple. You just hit escape, down, enter twice, and you skip the training. This is the first level in the game. It's called Prologue. And for basically the entirety of Prologue, I'm going to be explaining all of the tricks that we're going to be using in the run. So the first one is called the sidestep, which I'm going to do right here. It gets us up to full speed real fast. And that's going to be used really often in the run. And there, that was a double kickglitch chain. Kickglitches are pretty hard to explain, but basically I can jump in midair. And I'll leave it at that. The next trick is called a wall boost, and that's a wall boost. You just kind of jump at a wall and then jump off it really fast, and you get a small boost of speed. You can chain them together just like kick glitches. This is a neutral kick, and you can cancel having to do a roll if you kick while you have 0 horizontal momentum while in midair. Kicking doors is fast. Kick glitching is fast. Other stuff really isn't that fast, so I'm going to try avoiding doing other stuff. And now that that's out of the way, I can start explaining what I'm doing. So the story of this game, basically, it's dystopia, and we have to get packages to people because that's our job. Right now, we're going to have to jump onto this helicopter to avoid some cops, but I have to wait for him to say do it because do it the second time, because that's as soon as you can jump onto the helicopter to grab it. Any earlier and you'll just jump off and die. That was an annoying stick. Here I'm going to try and do a ground kick glitch on this thing, and I didn't get it. Normally you could land on those vents and jump this fence real fast, but I wasn't able to do it. You could also get over those with a sidestep into coil. Coil is when Faith pulls her legs up. That was weird. A lot of this game is about having backup strats. So there, when I failed the ground kick glitch on the vent thing, and I didn't get onto the top of the vent box to hop the fence, I just kind of wall ran and then turned and jumped. So here we can avoid taking the slow route by wall running and then just jumping over those guards and hopefully not die. We didn't die. And we're coming up on the first big skip of the game. It's called Chapter 1 skip. Aptly named because it's basically a skip that occurs in Chapter 1. So I missed the fast version, where you can do a kick glitch and then wall climb on that wall and then come in here. But that's fine because the slow version only loses about 8 seconds. And that's it. So now we're sliding down an invisible slide, but it's fine because it has collision. Clip right back into bounds, and now we're going to come up to a really technical section. It's called Flight. The first 3 chapters of Mirror's Edge are by far the most trick-dense, difficult, movement-intense chapters in the game. So if I ever just blank for a little second or two, it's totally normal because I'm concentrating really hard on... Oh, nice. So that was a speedy kick glitch. Speedy kick glitches happen when you kick glitch on the very same frame that you get popped up by a little lip at the edge of most buildings. They give you more speed than a regular kick glitch, as their name suggests. And they're pretty rare, but if it ever happens there, it's pretty weird looking because it turns you around. I don't know the reason why, but it happens. Here we're going to jump over these guards' heads if they exit the elevator, thank you. We're going to slide glitch. Oh, I forgot to explain the slide glitch, but that was a slide glitch. Oh, and okay. So I clipped this elevator because it's fast, because we can skip waiting for the elevator doors to open. And as soon as I get out here, I'm going to try to get down to an area that's kind of out of bounds, but not really. It's not a hard trick, it's just, I don't know, it looks funny. That was not the way that I wanted to do that. Here I'm going to do 2 nice kick glitches to just get some speed. And then something called a deep wall boost by looking deep into the wall. I got it. So deep wall boosts send you farther because they send you faster than a normal wall boost. That's 2 wall boosts. This area is just a bunch of wall boost chains. Nothing really fancy. That's another double wall boost. I'm going to try and get a triple here. Did not even get the double, but that's fine. So at the end of the chapter here, normally you're supposed to go up onto the that upper area here, and then climb a ladder and then take a zip line over. But it turns out that you can just do a kind of precise kick glitch and skip doing that, and it's fast. And that's chapter 1. So here, coming into chapter 2, right away I'm gonna attempt to do a skip called cannoli. It's probably the 3rd hardest trick in the game after Crane's kick glitch, 3A, 3C. Yeah, so it's hard, and if I don't get it, it loses a minute, but if I get it, it saves 45 seconds. So yeah, I'm gonna be quiet for a second while I contemplate getting this, because if I don't get it, I'll be real sad, but also the run won't be completely dead, so it's fine. Okay, so I didn't get it. That was mostly it. Basically what you're trying to do is do a chain of 4 kick glitches, and if you do it in the correct way, which I didn't, you get enough height and distance to get the 4th one, and as long as you get the 4th one, you'll end up hitting a checkpoint that's very far out of bounds, all the way in the storm drains area that I'll point out where it would have taken me to had I gotten it once I get there. But because I didn't get it, I have to go the very slow way through canals and then through some vents and then do an older version of kind of a similar skip that takes you to the same place. It's called Chapter 2 skip. Another application of the use glitch is to turn valves. So there, we just jump and coil, and then use the use glitch, and then you can turn off the valve. So the way that the use glitch works, as far as I know, is that you input 2 inputs of the interact button on the same frame, and for some reason the game is like, yeah, okay, sure. And you can just press stuff through animations that normally would get canceled, and you would be magneted to the interactable and interact with it. So if it was a button, you press the button. If it was a valve, you turn the valve. You get the idea. So we're out of bounds. Didn't really point that out well, but we were out of bounds the moment I jumped that fence earlier. Got the death. And so this is where cannoli would have taken us had I gotten it. Use the use glitch on that button from behind it. Wait for this door to open a little bit. Get some good wall boosts on these pillars. So storm drains is an area famous for deaths because it's a lot of kind of tricky movement. Okay, so that's the worst part of storm drains done. Here I'm just going to use a kick glitch at the end of this section here. Skip taking a zip line. I missed the kick glitch, but that's fine because there's a checkpoint pretty close. So normally in the game, that isn't the route that you're supposed to take. There's some pipes that you're supposed to swing on, but this game has something called hidden springboards, which is basically a location where the geometry of the level is like just perfect enough to give you the springboard animation, which is what happened there. Here I'm going to try and not take a hard fall. Mission accomplished. And so this is Storm Drain's exit, and I'm going to be attempting the hard-ish strat, kind of. Basically, the normal route is slow, and then the slightly modified normal route is also slow. And then all the other possible variations of that route are slow, except for this one and one other one, pretty much. It's not really that hard, but it feels like it's hard, and that's what counts. That's a death, yeah. That's fine. Like I said, this trick looks way harder than it is, but basically it skips climbing a whole bunch of pipes, which are really slow to climb in this game. Okay, so that's it. We're done. So there I used the slide glitch on a button, and we're just waiting for that pallet with beams on it to come and pick us up. And then we're out of storm drains forever. I don't know the reason, but for some reason grabbing here makes the crane make a funny noise. I'm just gonna completely ignore these guards. Oh, that wasn't enough speed for that. Okay, so I nearly died there, but that's totally fine because I didn't. I tried to clip this elevator, but it didn't work because I misplaced myself. Normally you can jump Q and then scroll the interact key and it'll push you up on top of the elevator, and that's how you clip elevators. And I missed it. Normally it would save somewhere around 6 to 8 seconds. Jackknife ends up in a T-pose, and then his model is completely invisible for the entirety of this chase sequence. But he still makes noises, so yeah, he basically becomes a ghost. There I had to take a roll because otherwise, for some reason, the game forces a hard fall. Yeah, not much to say about Chase, just following kind of an older route with kick glitches and wall boosts and as much fast stuff as possible, really. So normally in any percent, we would quit out and reload here, but because this is a marathon run and we're using RTA, it's just faster to not do that and just go straight through the hallway. And the reason why it saves time in in-game time but not RTA is because the game, when you quit out there, loads you in like 5 feet further in the hallway, so it's only useful in in-game time. And that's chapter 2. So in that cutscene that we just skipped really fast, Jackknife kind of like jumps over the gap and then knocks himself out, and he gets up and he's like, ha, I wasn't actually knocked out this whole time. And then he basically tells us off that we should go look for someone else to blame for all of our problems. So there I just did a trick called an alt climb. Basically if you press the hint key, which is by default bound to alt, Faith will look in the direction of her current objective. By the way, the main protagonist's name is Faith, if you couldn't already guess. And if you do it at the correct time, after doing a wall climb, turn jump, Faith will reorient herself in such a way that you can climb back on top of the thing that you were just wall climbing. So here I'm out of bounds, and I'm hitting this checkpoint, which is inside of the office. Skip's having to move through vents for, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. We're picking up this gun to break this glass and open up a door in about, I don't know, 15 seconds or so. And that's it. That's the only time we're ever going to pick up a pistol in this game. There I could have done a kick glitch, but I messed it up, so I ended up having to do a wall run, wall boost, and then get flashbang. Always nice. Here I'm going to try a kick glitch, but I might die because I'm bad. Okay. That's totally normal. I'm just going to go for the springboard next time. Ah, nice. I got popped by the door. So that's like if you go fastest there. With the kick glitch into wall boost, you can get popped out by the door very slightly fast. I don't know why sometimes that springboard doesn't work, but it, for some reason, just doesn't work sometimes. Prepare your what faces in chat for what's about to come. This is called Honkavator, because it makes a horrible noise. There's not really a big skip in Chapter 3, just a bunch of small ones. So clipping the lamp back in the first checkpoint of the game, or of the chapter. And then at the end of this chapter, oh, that's not what I meant to do. So there's another invisible springboard, or hidden springboard. Not what I was trying to do, but looks funny when it happens. So this is called Empty Helicopter Skip. Doesn't save that much time, but the benefit is that this helicopter that spawns in right there, first of all, it just spawns in like that. Second of all, it drops some ropes as if it's going to drop some guards, and then it just doesn't drop some guards, so that's pretty good for us. I just failed the strat that I was trying to do, but it's totally fine because, like I said back in Chapter 1, backup strats, that's basically the name of the game with Mirror's Edge. So coming up to a pretty long elevator ride, I'm going to intentionally get an elevator glitch, which is this, where my cursor goes completely invisible. It means that if we were to exit the elevator like normal here, I wouldn't have my jumps. I just really wanted to do that intentionally to show that off, because it's bound to happen in this run at least once. There's so many elevators. And basically what causes it is if you scroll too much too fast, then you can get elevator glitched. We quit out in that elevator because for some reason that elevator also, its doors take 1,000,000 years to open, so it's faster in both RTA and in-game time to just quit out and reload. So this is the other skip I was talking about. I think it's just called Chapter 3 skip, to be honest. I don't think it really has a name. Scaffold skip is what I call it generally, but I don't think that's actually correct. Yeah, basically just a kick glitch. Saves a whole bunch of time. Here, because I'm not doing crane kick glitch, I have to climb a crane and then jump across. But if you were doing crane skip glitch, you wouldn't do the skip that I did. You would come over here and then you would land just behind me on the ledge there, behind the mat. So that's the end of Chapter 3. Coming up into Chapter 4, probably the second biggest skip in the game in terms of time saved over the intended route. It's called Chapter 4 skip. Basically, I'm going to get out of bounds by getting over a fence that you're not supposed to get over, and then hopefully hit a checkpoint while also killing myself at the same time so that I respawn at that checkpoint. Okay, so that's part 1 done. We're over the fence. Okay, and that's it. So with some careful pausing there through the use of the tab button, able to pause buffer my way down into the checkpoint area and kill myself. Here we're going to try a strat called Blue Wall. You can probably take a guess as to why. basically I'm just using my free scroll mouse and scrolling into the wall to get deep wall boosts, which lets us beat the train there, which saves, I don't know, 5 to 8 seconds depending on your computer. Another thing about this game that's kind of not really mentioned a lot, at least, or maybe not mentioned a lot, but not really emphasized to newer players, but a lot of the game is actually hinged upon forcing fast animations. So sometimes you'll see me like intentionally look away from a ledge or something. That's usually to force a fast animation instead of a slow one, because for some reason your camera interacts with that in this game. That was really weird. I don't know what the hell happened there. I was like grabbing the bar 1 second, and then I was standing the next, and then I was behind the bar. This game's weird, man. So we're coming up on the end of Chapter 4. It's basically a 1 minute long auto-scroller train ride through a tunnel. I'm not going to do chill strats, which is where I do this, because it's dangerous. That's pretty much it. There's nothing really much more to explain in this chapter. I guess I can talk about the story, like what happened, or what's supposed to happen in this chapter. Basically, you go and meet with the guy that Jackknife told you was the guy that you actually want to speak to, and then he's like, no, wait, it wasn't actually me, it was actually another person. And then he dies to a bullet to the back, and then what we're going to be doing in Chapter 5 is going to meet the person that he said it was actually who it was. So here we're going to move over to the side and get bopped by this sign, and that's going to keep us right here next to the door where we want to be. For some reason it just doesn't do any damage to you. So right away here in Chapter 5 I'm going to do a small skip, or attempt to do a small skip if I jump properly. I don't actually know how much time it saves, probably 7 or 8 seconds, something like that. That wasn't it. That was close to it, but basically you're supposed to land on this kind of small invisible wall. Yeah, there we go. And by using this you can get down to street level pretty fast, and behind all those guards, and they just kind of ignore you. So here we're going to try and clip the elevator again. But first, before we can clip the elevator, I have to go slow intentionally in this hallway. Otherwise, the elevator actually won't load. So that's the purpose of climbing that railing twice and not side jump boosting here. Still let that elevator load in. Otherwise, you run the risk of having this elevator not load in, which is bad because it basically soft locks the game. Well, it doesn't soft lock, but you have to quit to the main menu and then reload at the beginning of Chapter 5, which is huge time loss, which is bad. Coming up next is a pole kicklich, which is a regular kicklich that is performed on a pole. They're kind of tough, but they're really not that bad.
Do you have time for a donation?
Yeah.
So, DD Gaming say first of many, and he gives $4.20.
$4.20. Thank you, DD Gamings.
You're doing good. Ball's just a few blocks ahead.
So Chapter 5 doesn't really have a lot going on. It's just kind of another technical chapter where you're focusing on movement and small optimizations, such as skipping the end of the pipe climb animation there to get moving faster, basically. Because the climb pipe animation is really slow in this game, as I mentioned way back when. You can try and force fast vaults here, or fast climb animations there, but It's not really. I didn't get it. That's what I was trying to say. Here we're going to ride these zip lines. Mostly just take the intended route, except with optimization. However, once we get past the entrance to the mall, there's going to be a trick called Beamer. And a Beamer is basically when Faith encounters a piece of new horizontal. Basically, if there's some shit sticking out of a wall and you hit it, Faith goes flying away from the wall. That's like the easiest way to explain it. So I'm going to be trying to wall climb against a wall that has some shit sticking out, and then hopefully get bumped all the way up and save 30 seconds. However, it's a frame perfect trick, so it could take a few tries. I could take 20 tries, could take one try. One try is obviously the best. Yeah. Like I said, not really much interesting, just wall boosts and bunny hops. Oh, I forgot to mention bunny hops. That's actually kind of important. So this game has bunny hops. They increase your speed by 3 to 4 kilometers per hour from 26 to 30 in this game. And that's Beamer. Okay. So that just skipped going to meet the person that we were coming here to meet. So we actually just totally skipped the entire reason we came to the mall in the first place. And now we're basically done with the mall. We're just going to try and get some cool movement into this event, because events are really slow.
Get higher, Faith.
Oh, I didn't get it. It's much harder than it looks. Here I'm just going to press the button, wait for the fan. Easy stuff. Gonna do a neutral kick though, because otherwise I would have to roll here normally. So there, crouch punching is faster than doing like a kick or a standing slam into the glass, but not by much. So by failing the first punch there and hitting the wrong piece of glass, I actually did not save any time. So we're coming up on the end of Chapter 5.
Should be one last door and you're out of there.
Yeah, simple chapter, not much going on. This is Chapter 6 right away. We're going to ride some zip lines, and then I'm going to take a checkpoint for safety. And then I'm going to get out of bounds by rolling on an invisible wall, which will reset my fall height because of some weird shenanigans that happens when you roll in this game. And then we're going to do the most impressive looking, second most impressive looking skip in the game, in my opinion, because it just looks really cool. So I got it first try. That's the out of bounds. We're now not in bounds anymore. So this is the skip. It just looks like really wonky because everything in this game looks really wonky when you're out of bounds. And then suddenly we're in the factory. So yeah, that's Chapter 6 skip. Saves kind of a large chunk of time. Not really that much, but like, it's a skip, so you do it. Here we're going to press a button through a wall. So there's a variety of different like vaulting animations for fences, and that one was the fastest one. Here we're going to press another button through the wall, and it's going to make a really loud noise. Sorry. And I'm going to have to do it again with this upcoming elevator at the bottom of these hallways here. So this is your warning basically. This one is much louder than that button that I just pressed. So. So now we're in PK training, which is where we discover that this malevolent force that has been pestering us this whole time is actually training cops to run just like us, which is really bad for us because it means that now we're going to have to deal with dudes who are basically as good as us, except they have tasers. And tasers are slow, so basically just going to try and avoid them as best as possible. However, there is... so there's an elevator glitch, so I'm going to have to wait for the checkpoint and then quit out, reload, and basically just lose a bunch of time because of it. There is a spot in Chapter 8 where they can mess you up and you could lose a whole bunch of time because getting hit by tasers really sucks. Here, sometimes the guards can shoot out the second glass pane over there. They didn't do it. So here we're just going to catch a ride on this train at the end of the level, and that will be Chapter 6. So in Chapter 7, this is definitely the biggest skip in the game. The chapter is titled The Boat, and every time someone runs this game in a marathon, it's like obligatory. You got to mention that the chapter is called The Boat, because we never go inside the boat at all, ever. The boat is off to my left currently. We're gonna do a skip that skips having to go into the boat. But I failed the fast movement, so yeah. Basically what happened is that didn't happen when I first came over there, so I had to climb onto the vent box, which means I had 0 speed going into the second kick glitch there. That was not a good kick glitch on that wall, so I had to reset and go back and try again. But now we are thoroughly out of bounds, as you can see by that truck just spawning in from nowhere. And me being able to walk through stuff. This door has collision, this fence has collision. We're just gonna try and climb right over it. And that's it. So now we're just waiting for a checkpoint to time in, right there. And now we quit out, reload, and we are in the final checkpoint of the level without having ever been in the boat. And this is the character that we normally are supposed to meet in the mall. And we're going to fight her. This is basically as close as the game gets to a boss fight. And that's 5 punches, and that's a takedown. So I'm going to skip the cutscene, but you know, spoiler alert, this is actually like your friend from the beginning of the game who was with you in training, so she's kind of like, you know, like a double agent. Yeah, so Chapter 8, also a really hard chapter, because it's got a bunch of skips. Well, it's got 2 skips, kind of, and also a lot of really hard movement. So I'm going to do my damnedest to explain what's going on while also sliding on that guy's head, because he's a runner cop. Yeah, basically, normally you're supposed to climb on top of this area and then get to a diving board and then land on that landing mat over there. But we can just avoid that by doing a kick glitch into a sidestep instead of a double jump, basically. This next section is Chapter 8, Checkpoint B. Pretty famous for killing runs, honestly. There's a lot that could go wrong. I'm not going to be attempting the skip here because it's just not really that consistent. But basically what you would do if you wanted to do that skip is get on top of that crane area over there and then go out of bounds and then come back in bounds and then go back out of bounds again and then die to get a checkpoint, quit and reload, and you've skipped an elevator ride. But we're going to take the elevator ride because elevator rides are comfy and we get to press the button a million times. Oh, just kidding, because I didn't get the slide glitch. But normally if you get the slide glitch here, you can just kind of scroll the elevator buttons a million times and it makes elevator button noises over and over again.
Just stashed the rifle. It's at the top of the atrium you're about to reach.
So Atrium, this is a famous area in the game for being both frustrating because it's got some puzzle elements and also, you know, just kind of really strange from a a standpoint of speedrunning because it's hard, like pretty hard. Well, also I just died, so yeah, it's hard. I'm going to be attempting the skip that you can do here at the end of this level. It's called Ventrium because we are in the atrium and we're skipping a vent that leaves the atrium, so it's Ventrium. The first step is to do this. Not really necessary to get the skip, but it makes setting up for it fast. Then you're supposed to get up on that pillar and get kind of out of bounds-ish. And that's it. And the last step is to get up there by doing some really weird movements. Basically, you can wall climb up the same 2 consecutive walls a bunch of times. That's not what I did there, but it's possible. So we just kind of get the next checkpoint that was past the vents to skip doing the vents. And I'm going to kill myself here intentionally because it's fast. Basically, it spawns another truck where the truck is supposed to spawn here that you're supposed to shoot. And because there's 2 trucks, for some reason, you're allowed to shoot it through a wall. Where did my gun go? Okay, so we shot the truck through the wall. This door's gonna turn red, so we can kick it. And that's pretty much it for Chapter 8. Gonna be doing some rolls off of some platforms in order to cancel my fall height because it's way faster than taking the stairs. Get that nice infinite falling animation. And this is Chapter 9. This is the last chapter in the game. It's called The Shard. In my opinion, it's got some of the best music in the game. But that's totally subjective. I'm going to give this skip a try once. It's really new. It was discovered last week, I think. Basically, if you turn that valve and then lie down here, oh, okay, I didn't get it, but you can kind of pause buffer your way to the perfect spot to get up there. And if you get up at the right time, the door will swing open because the explosion hits it, but it hasn't actually hit it yet. So you can like leave, take 1 tick of the explosion damage, and live, which saves doing this that I just did there. Looks really cool when it's done correctly, but it's pretty hard. But using tab to pause buffer it is slightly slower and makes it way easier, but I still failed it. Here I got an elevator glitch, so I'm going to wait to get a checkpoint, I think. Actually, no. I already got the checkpoint. That's closest here. So I'm going to quit out, and then because if you ever elevator glitch in that elevator, for some reason something weird happens to the game or something, makes it kind of soft locked-ish. So you have to quit out and reload again in the next area up in that direction once this elevator ride is done. And we kick open a door. I'm going to have to reload again because, yeah, that's just the way the world works. So normally, this area, you would take an elevator ride that lasts like 45 seconds to a minute, possibly even more actually. I don't know the exact timing of it. Listen to some dialogue, and then a button will open up, and you can get out. But we could just get out like this. That elevator clip works differently from all the other elevator clips in the game, except for one, which is also in Chapter 9. And basically, this trick is called Super Beverage because it skips the elevator talking about having a nice, cool beverage. It's going to take us to the sniper area, where we're going to do a skip called Sniper Skip, because it skips the sniper area. Very good names for skips, honestly. So that's it. Oh, I missed it. Basically, you can jump on a paper-thin piece of wall, floor thing, and just jump your way across basically the entire, this whole area. just like this. So the snipers can't see me. I'm like in a wall, but also not in a wall. It's weird. If you don't jump there with the spacebar mashing, and instead you opt for using the scroll wheel, bad things can happen. So you have to use spacebar mashing to get down there. So here I tried to clip this elevator. It's the other one that can be clipped in that fashion. It would only save about 5 seconds if I got it, whereas the one that I did back before Sniper Skip saves about 45 seconds over the old skip that we used to do there. So probably about a minute and a half total, maybe a little more. So we're coming up on server room. I'm going to attempt to clip the server room without having to destroy any of the servers, which is about 8 seconds faster than having to destroy any of the servers. It's kind of like a 50-50, either I get it or I don't. However, it seems way more impressive if I do get it on the first try, because it's actually kind of hard. Yeah, so if you don't get it on the first try there, the guards can kind of mess you up and kill you. So I'm just going to do it the normal way this time. And the normal way is to just disarm this guy and then kind of just go Rambo on the servers. And then this door opens because the servers getting blown up opens doors. I'm going to try tree strats here. Very risky strat. Jumping upstairs or other slopes is generally fast in this game. So here we're skipping a cutscene. For some reason, quitting out and reloading just completely skips that cutscene. So we get like the end of that cutscene where the guards are like, nah, we won't shoot you yet. And Jackknife is in the helicopter with our sister, who he kidnapped. Sorry, I never really explained that, but he has our sister, and we're going to save her. And that's Mirror's Edge. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next game, or games.
So everyone, on a reçu une donation de 31 et 37 de Osage Orange. Thank you very much to Osage Orange. And he says, I have to donate for such a great cause. Thank you for such an awesome weekend of speedrun. But you're welcome, Osage Orange. And so the next will be Pixel 911 on Banjo-Kazooie. So cheer up for him, yay!